You're so awkward that everyone feels uncomfortable. Don't come. The words landed softly, almost politely, which somehow made them worse. Kayla stood in her kitchen, barefoot on cold tile, phone pressed to her ear as if holding it tighter might change what she was hearing. Outside her apartment window, Portland was waking up. Gray sky, early buses sighing at stops, the ordinary hum of a Tuesday morning. Inside, her chest felt hollow. She didn't interrupt. She already knew better. Kayla was 27, an insurance claims adjuster who spent her days apologizing for things that weren't her fault. She lived alone in a one-bedroom apartment she kept meticulously clean, because silence and order felt safer than chaos. She was the kind of person who rehearsed conversations in her head and still worried she'd say the wrong thing. Her sister Vanessa had never had that problem. Vanessa was the golden child, the kind of woman who walked into rooms and immediately became the center of them. Confident, loud, effortlessly charming. And now, engaged to Wesley, a polished real estate developer with perfect teeth and parents who owned property in places Kayla had only ever seen on postcards. The wedding was going to be in Paris. Kayla had the brochures spread across her small dining table, glossy pages showing the Eiffel Tower at sunset, champagne flutes clinking in impossible lighting. She'd been flipping through them that morning, letting herself imagine it, standing quietly at the back, watching her sister get married, feeling like she at least belonged somewhere. That was when her mother called. "We've talked as a family," her mother said, voice calm, measured. "To come. And we think it's best if you don't attend the wedding." Kayla stared at the brochures. Her fingers curled slightly at the edges. Sorry," she said. "What?" There was a sigh on the other end, the kind that carried years of disappointment. "You know how you get at social events, Kayla. The stammering, the awkward silences. You make people uncomfortable. And Wesley's family is very particular about appearances." The words stacked on top of each other, neat and devastating. "This is a big event," her mother continued. "We don't want any moments." Kayla felt her throat tighten. She tried to respond, but her voice came out as a whisper. "I understand." And that was it. No argument, no defense, just acceptance. Automatic, practiced, painful. The call ended. Kayla slid down the cabinet door until she was sitting on the floor, knees pulled to her chest. The tears came fast, embarrassing and hot, soaking into the sleeve of her cardigan. She pressed her mouth shut, like she could keep the sound of her own heartbreak from escaping. At work later that day, she thought she was holding it together. She answered emails. She smiled when required. But when her best friend Zoe found her in the break room, staring blankly at a coffee she hadn't touched, everything cracked. Zoe didn't ask gently. She never did. "What happened?" Kayla tried to laugh it off. Failed. Her eyes filled instantly. 10 minutes later, Zoe was furious on her behalf, pacing the room. "That's absolutely cruel. She's your sister. They don't get to erase you because you're not loud enough." Kayla wiped her face, mortified by her own tears. "Maybe they're right," she said quietly. "I am awkward." Zoe stopped pacing. "No," she said firmly. "You're thoughtful. You're gentle. And just because you don't perform for people doesn't mean you're less worthy of being there." The words stuck with Kayla longer than the shame did. That night, instead of crying herself to sleep, she opened her laptop. Her hands shook as she typed. One-way flight. Paris. Departure. The morning of the wedding. Confirmation email received. The next day, her mother texted. "Vanessa just wants to make sure you're not planning to show up uninvited." Kayla stared at the message for a long moment, then typed back. "I'll be out of the country. Have a beautiful day." No reply came. No apology. No attempt to stop her. And in that silence, Kayla finally understood. They hadn't just uninvited her from a wedding. They'd already decided she didn't belong. Paris greeted Kayla with rain-slick streets and a sky the color of pearl. It felt ironic, escaping to the most romantic city in the world on the exact day her family was celebrating without her. Couples hurried past her at Charles de Gaulle, fingers intertwined, laughter easy. Kayla adjusted the strap of her carry-on and reminded herself why she was here. Before leaving Portland, she'd bought a dress. Nothing extravagant. Soft fabric, deep blue. Something that made her feel quietly beautiful. Zoe had smiled when she saw it. "You deserve to have your own celebration," she'd said. Kayla had packed her journal too. For once, she wanted proof, written evidence, that she'd chosen herself. As the taxi wound through narrow streets, memories surfaced uninvited. They always did when she finally stopped moving. Growing up, Vanessa had been sunshine. Beautiful, charismatic, naturally charming. Teachers adored her. Strangers remembered her name. She laughed loudly and expected the world to laugh with her. And it usually did. Kayla was different. Taller than most girls, painfully self-conscious, more comfortable with books than people. She learned early that silence was safer than speaking, and that disappearing slightly made life easier for everyone else. Their mother never hid the favoritism. Vanessa got the nicer clothes, the bigger bedroom, first choice of everything. When Kayla once asked why, her mother had waved it off. Vanessa has more opportunities. We're just being practical. Their father was more distant than cruel. A successful surgeon who smelled faintly of antiseptic and golf grass. He was rarely home and rarely involved. When he was, his praise was reserved for accomplishments. Grades, trophies, things Kayla never quite had in impressive quantities. The one person who saw her was her grandmother, her father's mother. She'd sit beside Kayla on the porch, hands warm and steady, listening without rushing her. When Kayla was 15, her grandmother died quietly in her sleep. At the funeral, she'd pressed Kayla's hand and whispered, "Don't let them make you small. You have your own light." Kayla carried that sentence with her like a talisman. Even now, Paris helped a little. She spent the next morning in the Jardin du Luxembourg, watching children sail toy boats across the pond, their laughter echoing like something from another life. At a bakery near the corner, she butchered the French so badly the woman behind the counter smiled sympathetically, and slipped an extra macaron into the bag. By the Seine, Kayla took photos of Notre Dame, the stone steady and enduring, and wondered, just for a moment, if anyone back home had noticed her absence. She imagined her mother explaining it away. Kayla couldn't make it work. She's not feeling well. The ache was quieter now, but it was still there. Early afternoon Paris time. She was sitting on a bench, journal open but untouched, when her phone buzzed. Instagram notification. Her cousin Jennifer. Kayla frowned. Jennifer loved drama. Slowly she tapped the screen. The caption read, "OMG, you guys won't believe what just happened at Vanessa's wedding." Her stomach dropped so fast it felt physical, like missing a step on a staircase. The video started shaky. Crystal chandeliers blurring into focus, an elegant ballroom humming with tension. Guests whispered. Phones were already out recording. The camera swung wildly, then landed on the front of the room. Kayla's mother stood rigid, face flushed. Wesley was inches away from her, jaw tight with fury. Vanessa was beside him in white, hands clamped over her mouth, eyes wide with horror. Even without sound, Kayla could feel it. Something had gone very, very wrong. Jennifer's camera zoomed in just as Wesley's voice cut through the room. "You're nobody," he snapped. "Your entire family is nobody." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. He laughed short, cruel. "Vanessa's lucky I even looked at her. She's pretty sure, but that's all she's got." Kayla's chest tightened. She could hear her mother now, shrill with indignation. "This is my daughter's wedding day." Wesley turned on her, eyes cold. "Your daughter is a shallow, spoiled brat." And then, so fast Kayla almost missed it, he leaned forward and spat directly in her mother's face. The room exploded. Screams. Someone dropped a glass. Phones lifted higher, recording everything. Vanessa collapsed into tears, her dress bunching at her knees as people rushed toward her. Wesley stepped back, wiped his mouth like he'd done nothing more than speak an unpleasant truth. "You're all pathetic," he said loudly. "This wedding is over." He walked out. The video cut off. Kayla sat frozen on the bench, Paris rushing around her, heart pounding. Thousands of miles away, everything her family had worked so hard to protect, the image, the appearances, had shattered in public. And she hadn't been there. For the first time, that felt less like rejection, and more like escape. By the time the sun dipped behind the buildings along the Seine, the internet had already made its decision. The hashtag wedding spitgate was everywhere. Kayla refreshed her phone in disbelief as the numbers climbed. Hundreds of thousands of views, then millions. Dozens of videos surfaced, each angle worse than the last. Close-ups, slow motion. One clip even caught the exact moment the spit hit her mother's cheek. The collective gasp perfectly timed. News outlets picked it up within hours. Entertainment sites dissected it frame by frame. Comment sections turned ruthless. The mother looks so arrogant. Probably deserved it. Rich people problems. Oh. That poor bride though. Imagine your wedding becoming a meme. Memes followed almost instantly. Freeze frames, captions, reaction edits. Kayla watched it all from a small cafe table. Espresso cooling in front of her. Paris moving on like nothing monumental had happened. Somewhere in the middle of the chaos, something in her settled. Instead of spiraling, Kayla did what she'd always done best. She researched. Back in her hotel room, she opened her laptop and followed the threads people were starting to pull. A gossip site led to another. Buried article here. Forum post there. The picture that emerged was ugly and disturbingly clear. 2 years earlier, a previous girlfriend had filed a restraining order against Wesley. That aggressive behavior. A police report that went mysteriously quiet. Digging deeper revealed he'd been fired from a real estate firm after an incident involving co-workers. Money had softened the edges. His family had cleaned it up. Wesley wasn't the golden boy he presented himself as. He was the youngest son, overlooked, given a ceremonial job title to keep him occupied. The pattern repeated: charm, control, rage. Kayla took screenshots, saved links, built a quiet, damning timeline. Her phone began buzzing non-stop. Her father called first. Not about logistics, not about damage control, just calling. For the first time in her life, she let it ring. Then her mother. Over and over. Vanessa tried too, calling from an unknown number. Kayla watched the screen light up, then go dark again and again. Around her, tourists laughed. A street musician tuned his guitar. Someone dropped coins into a cup. Her old life was collapsing, and Paris didn't even blink. When Kayla finally answered, it was her mother. The voice on the other end was unfamiliar. Raw, stripped of its usual superiority. "You need to come home right now." Kayla leaned back on the hotel bed. Teddy. "Why would I do that?" "Oz." "Then urgency. Your sister needs you. This family needs you." Kayla exhaled slowly. "The family that didn't want me at the wedding suddenly needs me when everything falls apart? This is not the time for your self-pity," her mother snapped. "The video has been viewed millions of times. Your father's practice is getting calls. Vanessa is hysterical. People are harassing us online. And where was I in all of this yesterday?" Kayla asked. Silence. Then accusation. "Where are you, Kayla? Hiding in France like a coward." Something in Kayla finally snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically, but cleanly. "A coward. You told me not to come." Her mother inhaled sharply. "I think you misunderstood. I was just concerned you'd feel overwhelmed." Kayla sat up. "Don't gaslight me. I know exactly what you said." The tone shifted instantly. Sweet, careful. "Honey, you're emotional. Let's not rewrite things." Kayla smiled, though her eyes stung. "We're done pretending." The call ended. Moments later, Vanessa called again. This time, Kayla answered immediately. Vanessa's voice was shaking. "Kayla, Wesley texted me. He says he's coming back tonight." The words landed heavy. "Are you alone?" Kayla asked. "He has a key," Vanessa whispered. "He knows everything. I'm really scared." Kayla's fingers tightened around the phone. "Is he still messaging you?" "Yes, nonstop. He keeps saying we need to finish the conversation." Vanessa's breath hitched. "I thought I knew him. He was always so charming." Kayla didn't hesitate. She sent the screenshots, the restraining order, the articles. A long silence. "Oh my God," Vanessa whispered. "Mom and Dad said they did all the background checks. They said he was perfect." Kayla's voice was gentle, but unflinching. "They saw money and status and stopped looking." For the first time in their lives, the distance between the sisters wasn't resentment. It was fear. And Kayla, the one who had always been pushed aside, was suddenly the only one who saw clearly. Kayla didn't sleep that night. Part of her wanted revenge. The clean, sharp kind that proved everyone wrong. Another part remembered 2 little girls sharing a room, whispering in the dark, before life split them into roles they never chose. When Vanessa called again, crying so hard she could barely breathe, Kayla made her decision. "I'm not coming back to play happy family and pretend everything is fine," Kayla said. "If I come home, things are going to be different." "I don't care," Vanessa sobbed. "Anything. I'll do anything." Just please help me. Kayla booked the flight. Tomorrow morning. The change fee was obscene, but for once, she didn't flinch. This wasn't running away anymore. It was running toward something. On the flight back, Kayla turned her tray table into a command center. Laptop open. Tabs multiplying. She mapped Wesley's life like a case file. Youngest son of a real estate empire. Impressive last name. Very little real authority. A ceremonial role designed to keep him occupied while the serious adults handled actual power. His job history told the real story. Short stints, vague exits, personal reasons. The ex-girlfriend's account filled in the blanks. He'd been charming at first. Attentive. Then controlling. Then explosive. Rage over small things. Followed by extravagant apology gifts. The final incident. Showing up at her workplace. Yelling until security was called. 1 year later, the woman had posted a photo of herself smiling in sunlight. Captioned simply, "Freedom feels quiet at first." Kayla saved everything. Screenshots, articles, statements. This wasn't about damage control anymore. It was about protection. Her parents' house loomed exactly as she remembered it. Sprawling colonial, manicured lawns, expensive restraint. When the door opened, Kayla barely recognized her mother. No makeup, hair pulled back haphazardly, lines carved deep by stress. She looked old. "Oh, thank God," her mother breathed. "You came." Kayla didn't answer. She walked past her without waiting to be invited. Vanessa sat curled on the couch, swollen eyes, tangled hair, wearing sweatpants like armor. The moment she saw Kayla, she broke completely. Sobbing, collapsing into her arms. Kayla stiffened, then slowly wrapped her arms around her sister. Not forgiveness. Not yet. Just presence. Vanessa's phone buzzed constantly. Kayla read the messages, her jaw tightening. "I'm coming over tonight whether you like it or not. You're making this worse by ignoring me. I love you so much, baby. Your mom provoked me. You're going to regret treating me this way." "This is police level," Kayla said quietly. "Restraining order." Her parents exchanged a look. Fear, not doubt. "His family has lawyers," her father said. "Powerful ones." Before anyone could respond, the doorbell rang. Once, then again. Wesley didn't wait. The door swung open, and there he was, perfectly groomed, smile sharp enough to cut. "I need to see Vanessa," he said. "She's not answering my calls." "Get out of my house," her father said, voice shaking with fury. "I'll give you 10 seconds, he added. "Then I'm calling the police." Wesley laughed, a low, skin-crawling sound. "She grabbed me first. I was defending myself." "That's a lie," Kayla's mother snapped. "I never touched you." Wesley's eyes flicked around the room. "My family has very good lawyers. We could make this complicated." From the stairs, Kayla lifted her phone. "Recording." "Oh," Wesley said, noticing her. "You must be the awkward sister." Kayla didn't blink. Vanessa suddenly whispered, "There's something you don't know." The room stilled. "We're married," she said. Silence crashed down. "This morning," Vanessa added. "At the courthouse." He said it was romantic. Spontaneous. Just a formality. Wesley smiled. "Our little secret." Her parents stared at her like they'd been punched. Kayla kept recording. 'Cause now there was no going back. Wesley's eyes narrowed as Kayla stepped fully into the room. "Who the hell are you?" he demanded. Kayla didn't raise her voice. She didn't rush. She simply said, "I'm the other daughter. The one who wasn't important enough to invite to the wedding." Her parents froze. For a split second, it was like she'd appeared out of thin air. Her father fell into old instinct. "Kayla, go back upstairs." "No," she said calmly. "I want to hear what Wesley has to say." She turned back to him. "You were very angry when you spat on my mother. What exactly did she do to deserve that?" Wesley opened his mouth, then closed it. "I mean specifically," Kayla continued, "because the audio in about a dozen videos is pretty clear. So help me understand." His jaw tightened. "You weren't there. You don't know what happened before the cameras started rolling." Kayla nodded. "You're right. I wasn't there." He paused. "I wasn't there because my mother told me not to come. She said I was awkward, embarrassing, that I'd ruin the look of the wedding." No one spoke. The silence did the work for her. Then Kayla moved. "I know about Jessica," she said. "Your ex-girlfriend." The restraining order she filed 2 years ago. Wesley's face went still. I know about the job you lost at Davidson Properties, for threatening a coworker. I know about the drunk driving charge your family's lawyers made disappear. Her parents stared at him now, not with fear, but clarity. You're not powerful, Kayla continued. You're the disappointment in your family. That fake job title exists to keep you busy and quiet. You don't know anything, Wesley snapped, but it landed weak. I know patterns, Kayla said. You love-bombed Vanessa, isolated her, made her dependent on your approval. Rage, apology, gifts. Classic abuser tactics. I love her, he shot back. No, Kayla replied. You love controlling her. There's a difference. She held up her phone. Screenshots glowed on the screen. His messages, undeniable. Something in Wesley broke. He lunged forward. Her father reacted instantly, grabbing him and shoving him back. Vanessa screamed, but she didn't drop her phone. From the stairs she kept recording. Kayla didn't flinch. We're filing for an annulment, she said clearly. Fraud. Coercive control. And if you come near her again, the restraining order will be very public. She stepped closer. The same media covering your wedding disaster will love the abusive groom follow-up. Wesley's hands clenched into fists. For a terrifying second everyone braced. Then his shoulders sagged. This isn't over, he hissed. My family will destroy all of you. Kayla met his eyes. Your family is probably thrilled to be rid of you. The door slammed so hard the windows rattled. For a moment no one moved. Then Vanessa came down the stairs, holding up her phone with shaking hands. I got everything. By morning, 3 more women had come forward. Kayla contacted a lawyer, Patricia, a specialist in coercive control cases. A journalist named Lauren agreed to handle the story carefully, centering Vanessa as a survivor, not a spectacle. They sat around the dining room table, and without anyone asking, Kayla took the head. Attorney at 2. Interview scheduled. Annulment filing underway. Her mother looked at her like she was seeing her for the first time. When did you become so capable? Kayla didn't hesitate. I always was, she said. You just never bothered to notice. 2 days later, Vanessa's interview aired in prime time. She didn't look polished. She looked real. She spoke calmly, but her hands trembled just enough to remind people this hadn't been rehearsed. She explained the courthouse wedding, how Wesley framed it as romantic, how he rushed her, how secrecy felt intimate until it felt like a cage. Text messages flashed on screen. Then the other women appeared, faces partially obscured, voices steady with truth. The internet changed its tone overnight. The mockery vanished, replaced by something heavier and better. Hashtag wedding spitgate faded. Hashtag support Vanessa took its place. Women flooded the comments with their own stories. Control disguised as love. Rage followed by apologies. The slow erosion of self-trust. The narrative flipped completely. From spectacle to survival. Wesley's family released a statement within hours, distancing themselves and acknowledging his serious personal issues. It was corporate, bloodless, and strategic. The empire was protected by cutting him loose. The annulment faced no contest. The settlement was quiet. Wesley deleted his social media and vanished into a wellness retreat in Arizona, paid generously to disappear. The story moved on. But Kayla's was just beginning. When producers approached her, they pitched it simply. The forgotten daughter who saved everyone else. Kayla hesitated, then agreed. Her interview aired a week later. She brought receipts. Her mother's text telling her not to come. Screenshots. Context. She spoke not with anger but clarity. About growing up invisible, about favoritism that masqueraded as practicality, about how being overlooked doesn't make you weak, it makes you observant. Her parents and Vanessa approved the interview beforehand. Not to control it but to accept accountability. Her father said it plainly on camera. We failed her. And we deserve to be held accountable. Kayla deserves to be seen. For Kayla it was cathartic. She talked about never feeling good enough. About being uninvited from her own sister's wedding. About escaping to Paris and watching her family implode an ocean away. I didn't go back for revenge, she said. I went back because my sister was scared and asked for help. But I returned on my own terms. Not as the forgettable daughter, but as a capable adult who deserves respect. She acknowledged the changes. Her mother starting therapy. Her father making effort, rebuilding something honest with Vanessa. Then she looked directly into the camera. "You are not the problem," Kayla said. "Your value doesn't depend on someone else recognizing it. Stand up, speak out, take up space. You deserve to be here." When the interview aired, her phone exploded. Strangers thanking her, women crying, co-workers stunned. People who had never seen themselves reflected in a story finally did. 3 months later, Kayla stood at the front of a small conference room in downtown Portland. It was the third meeting of the support group she'd started. 12 women sat in a loose circle, coffee cups in hand. Different ages, different stories. Same age. They talked about family rejection, favoritism, being the difficult one, the quiet one, the disappointment. Some were repairing relationships. Others were choosing distance. All of them were healing. The acknowledgement, Kayla said softly, was its own kind of healing. Home, things were changing too. Her mother attended therapy weekly and apologized without excuses. Her father started asking about Kayla's life, really listening. They met for coffee every Sunday. No agenda, just presence. Vanessa moved into her own apartment, went back to school. One night she admitted quietly, "I forgot to figure out what I wanted." The support group grew. Meetings became twice monthly. Word spread. Kayla began speaking at conferences about family dynamics, invisibility, resilience. The irony wasn't lost on her. The woman once deemed too awkward now stood on stages, speaking to hundreds, being applauded. Sunday dinners returned, but different now. Real conversations, laughter without tension. Kayla got promoted to a management role at work. Her father told her he was proud, without qualifiers. Being underestimated your whole life, Kayla realized, teaches you resilience. One night, her mother said quietly, "We gave you every reason to walk away completely. The fact that you didn't is more than we deserved." Forgiveness wasn't instant. It wasn't clean. It was a process, not a destination. Vanessa worked on forgiving herself. Kayla reminded her gently, "We were both products of how we were raised." They were breaking patterns together. As for Wesley, his name became a warning. Cautionary tale. Reputation destroyed. Power gone. Kayla didn't celebrate that. What she celebrated was this: refusing to let someone else's low opinion define her reality. She had spent 27 years shrinking, apologizing, making herself easier to ignore. She was done. "I was Kayla," she said later. "And I was finally fully visible." That was the sweetest victory of all.